Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is the IWC Portugieser Minute Repeater. This is actually the third generation Portuguese Minute Repeater. The 5240 came out in 1995, the second generation, the 5242, bowed in 06, and this is the 5449-05, the 5449 generation arriving in 2009. The example in my hand in rose gold, a 2010 limited edition of 500 pieces. So let's confirm that by taking a look at the reverse. Look at that, an individually numbered IWC limited edition. We're so used to seeing 1 of 500 or something thereabouts. So this is a watch that is very, very special. And because it does feature a movement that's IWC on the base side and Audemars Piguet Renault Papi on the minute repeating side, let's hear what it has to say. It is not the loudest minute repeater, but it is a very sweet one, and it has a wonderful sonorous chime to it with good sustain and high tonality. The watch is large, as you would expect from a Portuguese, and you can instantly tell it that it's not one of the first two generations, because the first two generations had small seconds at 9. Here, with a new base caliber, it shifts down to a more traditional 6 o'clock. As you can see, 44 in diameter in red gold, very heavy, 14.5 millimeters thick. I measure it as 51.1 from lug to lug, and then 22 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs. We'll throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and it wears comfortably. Part of that is the curvature of the lugs. Let me show you that a little bit more clearly. The lugs are nicely curved and short. So although this is a large watch, it doesn't wear so huge that I couldn't enjoy wearing it. So a 16 centimeter circumference wrist like mine can wear this watch well and comfortably, and it won't protrude beyond the edge of the wrist. It is fairly thick though, and with the outcropping of the slide, it could cause a very tight sleeve to get hung up, but probably not any kind of a jacket, just a shirt. Good looking watch, also matches just about any skin tone well. The rose gold has a lovely warmth to it. And then you can see the strap is a medium brown with some red undertones on the bottom calf skin. You can see an IWC factory strap in excellent condition. Monotone stitch, very large rectangular symmetrical scales, always indicative of a rare and expensive cut of the animal. We have a semi-gloss finish. You can see there's a little bit of bolstering to give it thickness, and the lacquering in profile to clean up the shear cut. Taking a look at the buckle. The buckle is massive. Externally, we have polish, we have satin, we have fastening. It is a friction fit or snapshot style. Inside, IWC, reminding you that IWC out of Schaffhausen is the largest German-Swiss watchmaker. Most of the watch industry is in the French-Swiss regions, but in 1868, American F.A. Jones was shut out of the French-Swiss watch industry. He brought American ideas to watchmaking from Boston, and while the French-Swiss were not amenable to his proposals, the German-Swiss were willing to try, and so he founded IWC International Watch Company in Schaffhausen, and the rest is history. In 1939, the Portuguese was created. The two Portuguese importers of IWC, Rodriguez and Teixeira, wanted a wristwatch that was as accurate as a pocket watch. At the time, the bigger the movement, the more accurate. So to accomplish this, it was necessary to purpose build a wristwatch for a pocket watch movement. And I believe originally it was an IWC caliber 74. So it wasn't a conversion of a pocket watch. It wasn't an officer's watch. It wasn't something made from a pocket watch case and then converted into a wristwatch. The Portuguese was purposely built as the first purpose-built oversized watch, with the result being that many decades later, it would come into fashion. It was so far ahead of its time that until the early 90s, really until 1993, only about 600 to 700 Portuguesers had been made. So it was well known and respected, but always a niche piece until the modern era. And as the Portuguese became a regular offering in the catalog in the mid-90s, IWC decided to take the minute repeating module from its 1990 3770 grand complication and put it in a Portuguese minute repeater. And because the mechanism is on the dial side of the watch, that's why you can't actually see it from the case back. As you can see here, it's a lovely timepiece. It has a dramatically boxed and cambered sapphire, and so it may look like a plexi, but it is a sapphire. We can also see quite easily that in profile it's a classic Portugieser. The original watch, the reference 325, had blended lugs that melded into the caseband. They weren't stepped or notched or dogleg or claw or cow's horn in any way. Blended nicely. We have both satin and high polish. You can see we've got a little bit of a concave to the bezel. Other elements that are true to the original reference 325, a small second display down at 6 o'clock, leaf or feuille style hands, a chemin de fer or a railroad track for reading the minutes, vertically arrayed Arabic numerals, and then we have these little gold indices outboard of the numerals. You can also see we've got a slight downward step of the small seconds with a lancet style seconds hand, and then a concentric pattern. We also have a polished cannon pinion at the center of these lovely polished feuille or leaf style hands. No date, of course, that would be unseemly, but also impossible given that the repeating mechanism is underneath the dial. So some people ask me, is it Portugieser or Portuguese? And it really just depends. Portugieser is how it would be said in Schaffhausen because they speak German. Portuguese is how it would be said in an English-speaking market. So neither one is wrong, but if you want the native pronunciation, it is Portugieser. The watch features a true pocket watch-sized caliber out back. So this is the caliber 98950, and it is 37.8 millimeters in diameter. I wanted to keep it stationary so that it wouldn't advance past the 12:59 time I set. If you want to impress your fans with a minute repeater, remember, a minute repeater conventionally chimes the hours, the number of quarters after the hour, that's with a double chime, and then individual chimes for the minutes after the final quarter. So 12:59 would be 12 strikes, 3 double strikes, and then 14 single strikes, and that's what you heard. I didn't want it to advance past because you go from maximum strike to minimum strike. It just strikes 1 o'clock with no minutes. So I didn't wind it up before. Now you can see in operation, it's a big slow beating, 18,000 vibrations per hour like a pocket watch. You can also see it has probably the world's largest hacking lever, so you can stop the movement. This is a 5-position adjusted movement, so that is the high horology and chronometer standard 5 positions, with an overcoil hairspring that better centers the mass and ensures concentric breathing of the hairspring. So no matter what position it's in, the watch will be a more regular timekeeper than if it had a flat hairspring. You can see 52 joules. Only about 17 to 19 of those are the base caliber. The remainder are the minute repeater. You can see we have gold chaton cups for the pivot jewels, a 3/4 style bridge, and a Jones extended arrow index, all nods to the pocket watch era of watchmaking during IWC's early years under its American-born founder. And his idea was to make the micrometric adjustment index as long as possible so fine adjustments could be performed easily. Which I'll also note is that it's a very simple movement. Here's your crown wheel, here's your ratchet wheel atop the barrel, here's your center wheel, here's your third wheel, fourth wheel, escape wheel, anchor, and then the balance. And it's a very vocal watch. You can hear it ticking from across the room. That's generally the way with these big slow beating balances. You can also notice we have a vintage inspired click and click spring, a little extensible woodpecker style click with a swan's neck click spring, solarization on the wheels. You can see stripes across the bridges. We have a handsome bevel across the edges of the 3/4 style bridge. The arrow index is polished. All screw heads are polished. We have a tightly laid narrow perlage on the base plates with satination on the wheels. It's a good-looking movement. I should clarify that it has no real water resistance, as most minute repeaters don't include seals in the interest of conducting sound from their interiors to their exteriors. And I don't know how well you can see this, but the dial is what's called an opaline, so it's a soft metallic silver white, not a bright sunburst aesthetic. And there is a lot to love here. The history of IWC, the only high complication that has not yet been ruined by mass production across the industry, an iconic model from IWC, the Portuguese. If you're going to buy one of the twin pillars of IWC, you get a pilot's watch, specifically a Mark or a Big Pilot, or you get a Portugieser. I'm more of a dress watch guy, so this is more up my alley than a pilot's watch. watch. If that sounds like you, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. And before I leave you, I just want to clarify, because I know someone's going to ask, this is a 43-hour power reserve. So before we leave, let me at least make sure this is a 43-hour power reserve manually wound.